From the management team, we have with us Mr. Anurang Jain, Managing Director, Mr. Ramesh Gehani, Director and COO, Mr. Massimo Venuti, Director and CEO of Endurance Overseas, Mr. Satyajit Ray, Director and Group CFO, and Mr. Raj Mundra, Treasurer and Head Investor Relations. I will now hand over the call to Mr. Jain for his opening remarks, post which we can have Q&A. Over to you, Mr. Jain.
Thanks a lot. Good morning, everybody. I'm Anurang Jain, Managing Director of Endurance. I would like to share details of how Endurance has done in the first quarter of the financial year 2020-21. In India, in the first quarter of 2021, as per the CM data, the two-wheeler industry sales grew by 72% compared to the previous financial year. Scooters grew by 78% and motorcycles grew by 70%. The automotive industry in India had a degrowth of 73.5%. In India, due to the COVID-19 crisis, two-wheelers first quarter sales volume was 1.63 million two-wheelers, which included the June 2020 two-wheeler sales volume of 1.2 million numbers. June 20 two-wheeler volumes were 38% lower than the previous year's June 19 volume. The two-wheeler companies which did especially well in June were Bajaj Auto and Hero MotoCorp. The sales recovery is now being driven by demand for entry-level bikes in rural and semi-urban India due to a good winter crop and on hopes of a bumper summer crop due to a good monsoon. Also going forward, preference for personal vehicle ownership amid the COVID-19 outbreak should boost two-wheeler sales. But at the same time, we need to keep in mind the issues of intermittent lockdowns which could happen and challenge of getting 100% of skilled manpower who were available in the pre-COVID period. We are happy to inform you that the sales in the second quarter of this financial year are looking good. In July, in India, our net sales value reached 75% of the normal pre-COVID net sales value. This month, in August 2020, our net sales value should be back to the pre-COVID net sales value. In Europe, there was a decline of 52.5% in the first quarter in the European Union, including UK automotive sales. Our European sales had a degrowth of 57% in euro value terms, partly also due to the fall in aluminium alloy prices. The July 20 actual sales and the short-term forecast for quarter 2 show signals of a rebound in passenger car sales in Europe. This is also helped by the incentives mostly for the EV passenger cars, apart from ICE vehicles also, but by almost all the EU countries. We are very positive on our casting supply for EV applications, especially for the Porsche Taycan car, which sales is rapidly growing. On the financials, I will briefly talk to you about the first quarter of 2020-21. During quarter 1, as compared to previous year's same quarter, our consolidated total net income grew by 68% from rupees 19,160 million to rupees 6,140 million. Consolidated EBITDA grew by 84.6% from rupees 3,481.5 million to rupees 535.8 million. Consolidated EBITDA margin percentage is at 8.7%. The net loss was rupees 249.2 million at minus 4.1%. This quarter 1 consolidated financial includes the Maharashtra State Mega Project Incentive of rupees 100 million. During quarter 1, our standalone total income grew by 73.6% from rupees 13,645 million to rupees 3,603 million. This is against the degrowth in two-wheeler industry sales of 72% in quarter 1. Standalone EBITDA grew by 97.3% from rupees 2,488 million to rupees 67 million with an EBITDA margin percentage of 1.9%. Standalone net loss was at rupees 318.5 million at minus 8.8%. This quarter 1 standalone financial includes the Maharashtra State Mega Project Incentive of rupees 100 million. We wanted to especially mention that standalone net sales in quarter 1 of rupees 3,603 million was at 26.4% of previous year's quarter 1 sales of rupees 13,645 million. In spite of this, our cost focus on lowering fixed costs, variable costs, material costs and capex has helped us to contain the net loss in this quarter. Our company had a consolidated net debt to equity of 0.03:1 as on 30th June 2020. The India standalone had no net debt as there was a cash available of rupees 275 million. On 29th May 2020, CRISIL has reaffirmed our credit rating of long-term as AA with positive outlook, and short-term has given us the highest rating of A1+. The detailed financials are available with the stock exchanges and on the Endurance website. I would also like to share certain key points for the first quarter of 2020-21. 59% of our consolidated total income, including other income, came from Indian operations, and balance 41% came from our European operations. This was the reason because Europe had a lower degrowth than the Indian operations. In India, rupees 828 million of new brake assembly business was won with TVS and Yamaha. This business will start from the year 2021-2022. I would like to mention that we have rupees 15,438 million worth of requests for quotes in India from various OEMs. For our new customer TVS, we have been awarded rupees 1,220 million of 2 and 3-wheeler brakes business and rupees 320 million of 2 and 3-wheeler suspension business. Further, rupees 540 million of brakes business and rupees 276 million of suspension business is being discussed. As combined braking systems, which are normally used for up to 125cc motorcycle, is growing, with addition of our new TVS and HMSI combined braking business, which both will start in this year, and also in order to de-risk operations from a single plant at Aurangabad for brake assemblies, we are setting up a capacity of 600,000 per annum CBS brakes at our Pantnagar plant, which is in Uttarakhand state, which will start operations by April 2021. I would also like to mention that Endurance is focusing on a more value-add and profitable product mix in its future business, which includes 200cc plus motorcycle brakes and clutch assemblies with help of our acquisition of Adler and Grimeca in Italy in the last 5 months, paper-based clutch assemblies replacing cork-based clutch assemblies for motorcycles, continuous variable transmissions or automatic clutches for scooters, anti-lock brake systems or ABS for 150cc plus motorcycles, inverted front forks and adjustable rear monoshock absorbers for both domestic and export OEMs. This is with the help of our collaboration partner KTM Components, and getting into fully finished machine castings as compared to semi-finished castings for 2-wheelers, 3-wheelers and 4-wheeler applications. For our European operations, I had mentioned in the last call that in the last 2 years, 110 million euro of business has been won for electric and hybrid cars, which has started in this year and will reach peak volumes in 2023. Therefore, 45% of our last year's total Europe business value has already been won by us. Out of this 110 million euro value, 30 million euro value of business won is for electric cars for Audi and Porsche, and 80 million euro of business won is for hybrid cars for Volkswagen, Daimler, BMW, Fiat Chrysler and Maserati. Also, further 45 million euro of business is being discussed with Volkswagen for the electric and hybrid cars, and we hope to win at least 50% of this business. In Europe, a focused cost containment program has been started, which includes lowering our labor costs, tight control on general expenses like travel, and we are also consolidating our foundry activities from 2 plants to 1 plant in Italy, which will lead to a saving of 600,000 euro per annum. This consolidation will be completed by September 2020, which is next month. As mentioned earlier, our overseas company, Endurance Overseas SRL, has acquired 99% stake of the 2-wheeler clutch company Adler SPA and 100% stake of the two-wheeler brake company Grimeca. Both these acquisitions include all know-how, patents, brand and trademarks, and has helped our Indian operations in getting new business for 200cc plus motorcycle clutch assemblies and brakes, which will start in the year 2021-2022. I would like to specially point out that Endurance is actively involved in technology-oriented and new product, organic and inorganic growth. I would also like to mention that Endurance is entering two backward integration product areas, which are import substitutes also. First is the aluminium forging axle clamps required for our growing business of inverted front forks. Endurance has entered into a technical collaboration with FGM in Italy, and production will start at our Aurangabad plant from April 2021. There has been a slight postponement to this. The second product is wire braided hoses, which are required for ABS brakes. We will start operations of these hoses in Q3 of this financial year. Both these projects will help us in our future profit growth. It will be a win-win situation as our prices will be lower compared to the imports and our profits will be higher. Our aftermarket business in India was almost 4.7% of our net sales in the first quarter of 2020-21. The aftermarket sales degrew from rupees 592 million to rupees 169 million in the first quarter of 2020-21. The aftermarket sales are recovering fast both in India and the overseas markets, and we hope to reach the average monthly 2019-20 sales value by Q4 of this financial year. I also wanted to update you regarding our new Vallam plant near Chennai for supplying machine aluminium castings to Hyundai, Kia and Royal Enfield. Will start operations from this October. We will be starting supplying the BI3 or the upgrade Venue and the QXI or the Sonnet platforms, aluminium castings for Hyundai, and the QY platform aluminium castings for Kia. We are also happy to inform you that we have further received rupees 1100 million of requests for quotes for machine aluminium castings for Hyundai's plants in India, Korea and Russia. We are also targeting to supply our ABS brake systems in Q4 of this financial year. As part of our CSR work, during this COVID-19 pandemic crisis, Endurance has provided 4,300 food kits to people in rural areas of Aurangabad, and we have also taken over and are running a 80-plus bed COVID center at Waluj, Aurangabad for asymptomatic patients. With these opening remarks, I would like to invite questions from all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on your touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. To ask a question, please press star 1. We have a first question from the line of Varun Bakshi from Equirus. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. So my first question. Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. So my first question is regarding this new brake business that we have won from TVS and Yamaha. Sir, is this business owing to this import substitution? I mean, where this brakes assemblies earlier bought from China by TVS and Yamaha, and that we have been able to win?
No, actually, this business talk started more than, I would say, a year ago. At that time, we had no idea regarding, this issue of China tensions. So I think this was more of a de-risking maybe. It's possible that TVS has done that, but not Yamaha, I think. So maybe they were thinking of it, at that time. But this, I think, is a business where they want to get in a new Indian vendor who has the strength of technology, quality, and cost.
Okay. Sir, and regarding this import substitution, so last time we had said that we have in talks with one of the bigger OEMs for brakes business. Are we also looking at any other OEM apart from the earlier one mentioned, and what are the other areas that we are looking from the point of import substitution?
As far as the brakes business is concerned, the new customer is TVS. We already started for their Apache front brakes.
Okay.
So that was a new customer I spoke about last time, and that's a huge business we have got for 2 and 3 wheelers from them. So as of now, we have started supplying brakes to TVS, but we are supplying to Royal Enfield, we are supplying to Bajaj. We're starting from Honda from next month. And we have won this scooter business for CBS brakes from Yamaha, which I said will start by end of next year. So we are slowly going step by step and covering all the OEMs. Because see, one of our focus growth areas is supplying all our 4 product segments to all the OEMs, which we have not achieved yet. So that is something is also a growth driver. Look for us.
Okay. Also, sir, coming to the European business, so my question is regarding our competitors at large. Like we have been doing substantially higher margins than our competitors in European business, despite having much smaller size as compared to, say, Nemak or George Fisher for that matter. So just wanted to understand, like, what has led to such a superior margin performance as compared to other? Is it purely because of the product mix or any other particular reason for that?
I think it's a product mix and cost focus, but I will request Mr. Massimo Venuti to answer this question. So Massimo, please go ahead.
Yes. So in the first quarter, 2020-2021, as you know, we have had a reduction in terms of turnover of 56.9%, but we have been able to reduce our total expenses from 57.9 million euro of the previous financial year to 24.8 million euro this financial year, with a reduction of 57.2%. And so it means that we have been able to balance the reduction of the turnover with the reduction of cost. For sure, there is also an effect of a mix product, because as you can see in the first quarter, the first OEM became Volkswagen Group, where we have a higher profitability due to the fact that 100% of the production is completely machine, and so we don't deliver a raw part with a different added value. The positive aspect is that we increase also the cash profit of the first quarter 2020-2021 from 14.6% of the previous year to 18.1%. Basically with a reduction of cost, for sure, also with a support from the government, due to the fact that starting from the last week of March, we closed our plant, and the European market in Germany and also in Italy, we receive a support in the labor cost from the government for more or less 30% of the total cost. In Italy, only for a period of time of 12 weeks. In Germany, for a period of 1 year. And so, basically, the focus was to reduce cost and general expenses, for sure, also cost of material and employee cost. And we had a possibility, compared to our competitor, from my point of view, to close immediately when the problem started at the end of March 2020. We closed 120 flexible contracts that we had with the people. This is one of the main reasons why we have had the possibility to maintain a good level of cost in our profit and loss. We had this flexibility. This was the strategy of the company, and we have had the possibility to reduce these 120 people. Our competitors are not in the same condition. This is my opinion.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. We have next question from the line of Aditya Jawar from Investec Capital Services. Please go ahead. Your line is unmuted. Please go ahead. Thank you. We have next question from the line of Vimal Gohil from Union AMC. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Sir, if you could just maybe highlight, in terms of your Indian operations, how have your key customers done in terms of growth? Maybe if you can highlight Bajaj, Eicher, Bajaj Royal Enfield.
About how each of those customers have fared in the first quarter, or how we have fared vis-a-vis them?
Yes, yeah, that's what. How you have fared with them.
So if I see quarter 1 to quarter 1, we have been 68% down with Bajaj Auto. With Honda, almost 88% because they practically didn't run only in the first quarter. It started in a very small way from June. Royal Enfield was about 78%. Hero MotoCorp also 78%. Yamaha about 84%. So these were the main ones, So they were really, in fact, I would say Bajaj Auto did the best because they started, I would say, end of April, some operations for exports because they had huge backlog of export orders. So there was a lot of pressure during lockdown to start supplying for the export requirement to Aurangabad plant and the Pune plant. So we were least affected, I think, by Bajaj Auto, and that's what helped us, if you ask me, in the first quarter.
Right. I'm so sorry, I joined the call a bit late, but when I joined, you were talking about the deal wins with TVS. If you could just highlight that for me again, that would be great.
Okay, so you are talking about the business which we have won with TVS? Yes.
Yes,
we have
sir,
won
yes.
about 12-20 million of 2 and 3 wheeler brakes business. The Apache TVS brakes we just started in this month. And we have won rupees 320 million of 2 and 3 wheelers suspension business, which is your shock absorbers, front forks. And further, rupees 540 million of brakes business and 276 million of suspension business we are talking to them to try and get this business also too. So that is the status of TVS.
Fair enough, sir. And sir, you do expect to get in line with your normal profitability levels as and when your sales normalizes post-August, right? Or maybe in August?
I would say in August.
Okay.
I said August. From August is going to COVID levels from this month. We're already at the run rate right now.
That's great to hear, sir. All the very best. Just one last question. How much would be the capex for Europe and India this year?
See, Europe is going to be very less at 2.5 million, which I'll request later Massimo to explain. I don't think more than 2.5 million euro. But in India, the capex would be, I said last time, 1,500 million. It may go to 2,000 million because of the new opportunities on the new plant at Pannagar. I cannot lose that opportunity. And Hyundai and Kia have preponed some of the models, So the Vallam plant, I need to do some investments. And the alloy wheel orders have gone up, So this has slightly pushed up the investments, but outer limit would be 2,000 million rupees because I cannot lose on growth opportunities, I said 1,500 million last time, I remember.
So this alloy wheel business, wins have been a result of import substitution or market share?
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, is it an import substitution thing or a market share? It will be largely import substitution.
I believe it's an import substitution thing.
Great, sir. Great. Thank you so much, sir, and all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have next question from the line of Aditya Jawar from Investec Capital Services. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. Hi, Anurang. So you mentioned that we were back to at about 75% level. Now, if you split that into, there could be some bottlenecks in ramping up production, and there could be some, slowdown in demand from the customer. So if you have to, take a call that in July versus, August, how is the supply seems to have evolved? Keeping aside the demand side, what would you say?
See, I would say that even in July we were affected because, as you know, there was a 9-day lockdown in Aurangabad. And we had to keep 600 people in our 7 to 8 plants in Aurangabad inside after doing antigen testing. It was a challenge because in the lockdown they didn't allow even the industry to run. It was crazy. I mean, the local authorities, have a lot of pie, as you know, nowadays, and they shut down the industry. So they allowed only if you could have people inside. So we had to house people inside, make those arrangements, and I feel if the 9-day lockdown would not have been there, this sales would have been higher, is what I feel. Because the demand was picking up, and there was a lot of backlog, I know, of even the export orders of Bajaj. So the pressure was tremendous. What we have gone is like, in 4 months, gone to zero and coming back to 100%. So you can imagine, when your migrant labor has mostly gone back, and now we have got 70% back now. We have arranged special buses to get them from outside states of Bihar and UP and Madhya Pradesh, because they work harder than the local people, I mean, the challenges have been huge. I mean, the pressures are huge. You can't even imagine. So it's been a very tough period, a learning period, but we love to have challenges. So it's good that we are back to normal. I mean, the good news is that that's a good problem to have. But to answer your question, the 8 to 9 day, this 9-day lockdown did affect our sales in July.
Yeah. But, Anurang, that was a, period in July. But in August, are you still facing challenges in meeting to customer requirements?
Well, I would say we are meeting them. It is a challenge because, the recovery is, I think, more than a V-shaped. And the challenges are there. The challenges are mainly due to skilled labor, which has gone back. Like I said, 70% has come back. Challenge is training the new people, which we have done, started from May. Training them, their output is not the same. And so these challenges are there. And we are under everyday pressure. I mean, people are even calling me directly. So the pressure is tremendous, but I don't mind this pressure. I like to have this pressure because I want to go back to normal fast now. And I want to try and make up for the 3 months, So I'm very happy with this pressure. But the pressure is there.
The backlog, order backlog is still there. And by, when do you see that you will be able to meet the customer requirement, as, in a similar way as compared to pre-COVID level, the time gap?
I think it will happen in the second half of August. We will make up. It's not that we will not make up. We will make up. Customers also, they put all the pressures, but they also appreciate the situation because they also want to go back to normal, so I can understand their pressure. They've also suffered in the first quarter. So I think we'll be back to normal in second half of this month, and if we are, that won't be a problem. I mean, the issue is we are not able to have enough inventory in the warehouses. In fact, we have said we want to have 10 days inventory in our warehouses. We want to reach that situation so that we don't have the tensions if the lockdowns happen. Then you have enough inventory, so you are not under pressure putting people inside your factories and all that. So our focus is, so I think meeting the requirement is not an issue. I think it's more of an issue of the warehouse stocks not being enough.
Okay. That's helpful. I'll join back in the queue. All the best.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. We have next question from the line of Riya Ranjan from Antique Limited. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Just two things. One is on, what kind of annualized run rate we can expect from, say, TVS going forward? So first on that. And secondly, on Europe, what kind of incentive we have got, in terms of employee costs, etc., in the first quarter?
No, we did not get any incentive from Hero. And about the TVS run rate, I wouldn't know that. You have to ask them. I only know that in the month of July, the sales were down as compared to 57% in motorcycles. But I would say in two-wheelers, they were 57% down. They were only down 8% in July. So they are definitely doing much better, TVS. And I have no doubt that they will come back pretty fast, So, but this is a question for them. It's not for me. As far as I'm concerned, I am ready for all the business they, give me. And we got no employment cost or any incentives from Hero. Zero.
Because the government was supporting, right? So some wage costs, etc., they were reimbursing in Germany and...
No, you are talking about Germany or you're talking about India? I was talking about India to you. Because you mentioned Hero to me, right?
Yeah, Europe.
So you're talking about Hero in India or you're talking about Germany?
No, I was talking about Europe. Overall Europe.
Not Hero. Okay, I heard Hero. Sorry. So Europe, I would request Mr. Massimo Venuti to answer this. Massimo, please go ahead.
Yes. So first of all, we didn't receive direct incentive from the government. The only possibility that you have in Europe is to start the short-time working. What does it mean? You have a possibility to reduce the number of people. The people stay at home, and the government pay part of the salary of the people, from 30% to 60%. As I told you before, in Italy only for 8 weeks, and in Germany for 1 year. But one of the major reason of the reduction of our labor costs is due to the fact that we termination 116 temporary contract agreements that we had in our company, because the strategy was to maintain flexibility. This is the difference, because usually when you have a flexible contract, you pay more compared to the fixed contract, and so a lot of companies prefer to, in order to save money, to have 100% of the fixed contract. The strategy of Endurance in the last 10 years was to maintain more or less 15-20% of the total workforce flexible, because when there is a reduction, as in 2008, 2009, the only way is to have a possibility to stop immediately the contract. Why? Because when you receive this support from the government with the short-time working, the company can't fire people. That you can't reduce your workforce. You can reduce the workforce only if you have the flexible contract, and this was our situation. Okay.
Okay. And secondly, on India business, I mean, what kind of, will it be fair to assume that probably second quarter growth of component guys will be much higher, because right now, every OEM is trying to hold as much as in terms of parts inventory, because what has happened in last couple of months?
Yeah, so there is a possibility up to the festive season of Diwali. It may be even higher than last year, but I don't want to say anything. I can tell you about August because I've got the orders, and we are going to do the pre-COVID level sales for sure. But yes, it looks good up to the festive season of Diwali.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's all from me, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Reminder to participants, to ask a question, please press star followed by 1 on your touchtone phone now. We have next question from the line of Ronak Sarda from Systematics Group. Please go ahead.
Hey, hi Anurang. Thanks.
Yes. Hi Ronak.
And congrats on great performance. Anurang, first question, you answered the utilization levels have inched up pretty quickly in July and August, almost 80-90% now on an average. How has the cost behaved now? Given the sharp recovery, are we seeing the benefits of cost rationalization plan?
For sure.
Both at RM level and at admin level?
Yes. So I would say definitely the fixed costs. We cannot reach the fixed cost level of the quarter one, because that even included some salary cuts. Okay. 5 to 25% is what we had done for our people. Mm-hmm. Quarter one, and they really supported us, I must say. And we are back to normal from July now on the salaries. So the question is, I cannot do those things, but yes, I can say that from the pre-COVID level, at least on the fixed cost, 10% less we will maintain. 10% less, for sure. Okay. Material costs, whatever advantage we have got, we will sustain it, because it was definitely lower than quarter one of last year. Okay. So these two I can be for sure, and of course we are targeting variable cost percentage to sales. That's another target. We want to try and do lower than last year, but that is something we have to focus much more, to get that done. And capex anyway we have lowered, which I told you, from a normal 3,000 million rupees to about 2,000.
Right. And about that, once the product mix improves further, that should only help, right?
Yes, of course. So whatever I said about the product mix will definitely help us. And that's been our focus, last 10 years. We've been improving the product mix.
And sir, if I heard you correctly, you said the Maharashtra government incentive during the quarter was 10 crores?
Yes. So with 100 million rupees, yes. So that is 10 crores.
Right. And last question on the European side. This is despite lower utilization, this is the gross margin has been the best in the last 5 years at least. So what has driven that? Is it purely the aluminium cost, which has come down, which has improved the numbers, or is it more, product mix driven?
So I request Massimo Venuti to answer this.
So both sides, for sure, the product mix improved due to the fact that we have had an important increase of volume with Volkswagen, even if the situation was very bad. And as you know, with Volkswagen, we produce 100% of the component completing machine with a different added value, not a part in the period, and also an important activity of cost reduction. As I told you before, 120 people termination contract, recourse to the short-time working, and also cost reduction by utilization of pay holidays accrual. We have done insourcing, outsourcing activity for a small part, and the major effort will arrive from a point of view starting from September, October, when after the shutdown of the plant in Grugliasco and we are shifting the production to Chivasso, will be effective from September, and with a total annual saving of 600,000 euros. For this reason, I think that we can maintain the same level of cost fix of the first quarter also in the second quarter.
Right. And Massimo, a follow-up question on the we are closing down a foundry business and merging it to one. What kind of fixed costs do we incur in Europe to do that? Is this substantial?
No, it's very simple. We are closing a plant with more or less 48 people, okay? Of which 25 people are in direct position. And so it means only 23 are direct people, okay? And so in this way, we can save more or less 23 people in our plant in Chivasso. And before I told you that we closed 120 contracts for direct worker, but we have in this moment the possibility to reduce other 30 people in employee, maintenance, production, logistic, and so on. And so for this reason, we decided immediately to shut down Grugliasco, because this is the only way to have a possibility to recover this amount in the labor cost. For sure, we will reduce the production capacity, because we will move only 4 machines compared to 8 machines installed in Grugliasco. But as you can imagine, in this moment, there is a level of saturation in European market that is crazy. And so we are sure that we can buy from the market for sure with the best price compared to the past, okay?
Got it. Thank you, Anurag.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have next question from the line of Arvind Sharma from Citi. Please go ahead.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you for sharing all the data on the new order wins, sir. Just on a blended basis, the new orders that you've got in first quarter, for how long, I mean, what is the annual revenue that they suffice for? And till when can we have these incremental revenues?
So I will tell you this 828 million which I mentioned of the business one for the brakes of TVS and Yamaha. This is the annual sales value with the raw material prices of, I would say, quarter 4 of last year. Okay, that's the way the value was done. So it's the annual value which is there, and here the business will start from March 21 for TVS and October 21 for Yamaha. That is the SOP dates given to us.
All right. Thanks, sir. Sir, one more question on the European operations. Sorry if I would have missed it. Is it possible to just share with us the revenue and EBITDA in euro terms this quarter and the corresponding quarter last year?
Yeah, I'm sure we can.
Sure.
With Massimo.
Yes. Total turnover first quarter 30.4 million euro compared 70.6, a reduction of 56.9%, a reduction of 40.2 million euro. EBITDA 5.6 million, 18.5%, compared 12.7 million, 18% of the previous year. a reduction of 7.1 million euro, 55.8%. Net result was 0.8 million euro positive, 2.7% on sales, compared 4.7 million, 6.6% of the previous financial year.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing this. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have next question from the line of Aditya Makharia from HDFC. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Anurang. Congrats on a positive commentary. I just want to know, in our machined aluminium facility, what is the portion of machined castings versus non-machined?
See, are you talking about the overall figure? I will not have it offhand. But for example, Hyundai and Kia new business is largely machined. Bajaj Auto, we are going towards, I would say 50% would be fully machined by this year and 50% by next year. Going to full machining. And Tata Motors is fully machined business.
Getrag is fully machined.
Getrag, which we are exporting, is also fully machined. I don't know the percentage. I can always tell that figure to you later. I don't know overall casting percentage of machining versus non-machining. I wouldn't know that right now.
Sure, but would be comfortably over 50% the way you're talking?
Yes, of course. Yes, definitely.
Right. And also, who are our main competitors in the aluminium machine space?
Aluminium, I would say it's die casting and machining because you have to have both the capabilities.
Sure.
I would say Sundaram Clayton, Jai Hind Industries.
Okay.
These two are for sure. Rico Auto in a certain way for sure. Sunbeam is there. These four come to my mind immediately. Caparo used to be there, they closed down. Amtech used to be there, they closed down. So these I would say would be the competition to us really.
Okay. Great. And just last, similar competitors on the braking side. So I know you mentioned that there's Brembo and Continental, but I believe there's Bosch and Continental.
No. I would like to clarify. In brakes, there are two competition. One is a Japanese company called Nissin.
Okay.
Supplies to mainly Japanese companies. And there is Brembo.
Okay.
It was only on the ABS, which is an electronic and hydraulic control unit, and that technology is not there with Brembo. That is got Bosch and Continental. So our competition there, whenever we start, we are targeting Q4 of this financial year. If with God's grace everything goes well on the testing. There it is Bosch and Continental.
Okay. Got it.
Thank you, sir. We have next question from the line of Jatin Nayak from ICICI Prudential Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Hello. Hi, Anurang.
Hi.
Decent set of numbers.
Thank you.
Just one broad question. In the auto components industry, we've seen the component players who are reasonably strong with the OEMs on the wallet share point of view. They remain fairly stable. Now, you were pretty strong with Bajaj, but in the past 2 years, you've gained share with Hero, you've gained share with TVS and even Honda. And now on the call, you mentioned that there are new order wins from TVS as well. So how do you think about scale up on the wallet share point of view from these OEMs where you were not too strong on the wallet share point of view? How long can this journey be, and how challenging is this scale up when there are already strong competition and a strong partnership from the competition side?
No, I think that's a very good question you've asked. See, one thing which is very important is your technology. Technology in terms of product and process, which you have to keep upgrading, keep improving. How you can give more value add? I mean, I'll be honest, as far as Adler acquisition is concerned, they have come out with some really good 200cc plus bikes, clutch technology, which is better and maybe cheaper than the competition. It's better in performance and cheaper than competition, what we believe. And that's why already 3 OEMs have given us the orders already. We start from next year. Now the question is, we have continuously, we've got 4 R&D centers for each of our products. Apart from advanced engineering cell, now we have a proving ground also for first-time bike products. You have to continuously drive the performance, durability, and cost. These are three things which people look at: performance, life, and cost. If you keep doing this, and you will always have an edge on your competition. Now the entry point is what? It's your technology and your price. And then the quality will dictate whether your business will increase or not, or will go down. So we have, I think, the focus areas are technology upgradations, giving better prices, not only by way of compromising on your cost.
I'm sorry to interrupt. We seem to have lost the line of the management. Please stay connected. We'll be reconnecting the management. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly stay connected. Thank you. Thank you for patiently holding, participants. We now have the management line back in the conference. Sir, you may please proceed. Thank you.
So what I was saying is that ultimately, continuous upgradation of your technology in products, adding, giving value engineered products, could be lower weight, could be number of components are less in your shock absorbers or brakes, alternative, some materials you can give. So question is, you continuously re-engineer your products to give value for money. So one is on the cost front, and the other is on the performance and life. And that's why the test track in Aurangabad, 29-acre test track, where we jointly work with customers to test our products on the vehicle itself. Test rigs, of course, are very important. They have their own importance. But when you test it on the vehicle, it has its own importance. So I think the edge has been to get entry is your technology and price. And then the quality, I think, dictates the share of business. Because quality is normally the highest vendor rating when it comes to the monthly vendor ratings.
Sure. No, that's helpful. And then secondly, if I look 2 years down the line, presumably things normalize and pick up quite sharply. Now, there'll be a lot of free cash generation, even if you include the increased 50 crore capex which you announced. Any comments on any asset allocation strategies which you have in mind? You earlier indicated some interest in the tire industry. But any comments?
No. Tire I dropped because of all of you. Because my price hit the lower circuit breaker by 20%.
Yeah.
That's not good for you or for me. So it's because of all of you that I had to cancel that project. But that was on a lighter side. On a serious note, let me just tell you, we are actively looking at some organic and inorganic opportunities in a new product area. So whenever the time comes, I said last time also, I will tell you, because we are evaluating it, and that's a big focus area for us, for sure.
Sure. And how is the environment right now on the M&A side? Has it become really more attractive? What we hear from some of the other component players is that in the overseas market, because the government support has been so strong, in fact, that has pushed their M&A timelines by a bit.
No, see the opportunities, there are plenty of opportunities are coming. The question is, what is suitable for us based on our strategy going forward? Because we like projects which are technology oriented, are also okay for EV, has a good aftermarket, has few players. So we have a lot of requirements when we enter into a new business. So we are evaluating it, like I said in my opening remarks, that we are actively looking at new products, actively. And I really mean actively.
Thanks, all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have next question from the line of Pramod Amte from CGS CIMB. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. This is with regard to the alloy wheel business. If you look at the status, one of the reasons OEMs always said the China reason being is the extent of quantity you can source from there. Does it mean that when you are expanding that business, you need to set up a substantial capacity? One. Second, are these businesses now coming at a discounted price to China, or is it at the same pricing or at a premium?
No, I'll only say one thing, the pricing is fine. I will not say discounted or higher or whatever. The pricing is fine. Pricing will be fine, but without pricing, we don't do business, We are very clear on that. But as far as the opportunities which has come immediately, which I'm investing is in my existing plant in Pune. Because that is immediately I can increase there. So that I'm doing immediately, but yes, there are a lot of other few OEMs who have approached us for which we'll have to set up a new plant. So we'll see how that opportunity is, because the business is not bad. I would say it is quite okay, So if the opportunity is there, we will take it, But that won't happen this year. That will only happen next year.
Okay. And would you restrict yourself only to the two-wheeler alloy wheels, or you are open for others?
Yes. No, only for two-wheeler.
Okay. And the second question is with regard to the aftermarket. You seems to indicated in your remarks that it will take some time to recover to normalcy. If I heard right, fourth quarter.
Yes.
I thought the aftermarket is the faster one to come back to normalcy as compared to the new vehicle sales. Any particular reason why the aftermarket is slower for you taking time?
See, the issue has been that there are a lot of restrictions also in many countries. Of course, now people are out of lockdowns. But what is happening is that the markets really have not fully yet opened up in South America and in Africa, the way it used to be working on the pre-COVID time. India is, of course, opening up very fast. So I see India may be getting back faster. But I think on the export front, though, we are adding 4 countries, further 4 countries in this year. We have already added 2 actually. We have, I think, added, I'll just tell you, just a minute, because we were exporting to 28 countries last year.
Okay.
And we have added, just give me a minute. Yes, we have added Qatar and Cambodia in the first quarter, and we plan to add Brazil and Congo. So it will become 32 countries. So I think what my aftermarket is saying is, maybe they're being a bit conservative, that the export market is opening up a bit slower, especially in these larger regions of South America and Africa, where a lot of two-wheelers are sold.
Okay.
So I think that's the reason. The Indian market will come back much faster.
Sure.
I was talking about the overall sales,
Okay, got it. Thanks and all the best.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir. We have next question from the line of Nitin Arora from Axis Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir.
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. So my first question is, when you look at your other expenditure in a standalone or a domestic business versus a quarterly run rate of 200 crores, it's almost 70 crores this quarter. How much, is it like 60-70% is variable cost here?
Sorry? I didn't understand the question.
The 200 crore run rate of other expenditures in this quarter has come down to 70 crores. Is variable cost as a percentage, or let's say as a part of the other expenditure, is what, 60%? That's why it's such low. Just want to understand why it is like at a 70 crore run rate, which is helping you reaching positive EBITDA.
Okay, I'll request Mr. Ray to answer this. I think he can answer this much better than me.
See, there are two things to be sort of understood. I will not give you a percentage here, but I'll give you some perspectives for you to figure out your answer. Firstly, in the first 3 months of this year, if you remember that almost 40 odd days we were closed down completely. So therefore that would have an impact on the cost, overall cost of other expenses. And when we start operations at full, those so-called benefits will disappear. That's number one. But what Mr. Jain said was very important, that compared to last year's normalized fixed cost, we've taken some steps which will help us reduce fixed cost in general by close to 10% or so. So these two are very important. And the third thing is that some of these costs, you can't really straight jacket them into fixed and variable. Some of them are semi-variable as well. So they tend to pick up a little as and when operations grow. So that's your answer.
My second question is, Anurang, any sense of the new EV policy which Delhi came out with looks to be very attractive in terms of if we include the FAME 2 benefits. Any thought process of yours in terms of
whatever I saw, in fact I saw it only last evening because I was in my board meeting. I think it is talking about mainly lowering the upfront cost by not including the battery cost, which is 40% of normally an EV vehicle. And then the batteries can be bought by the real suppliers of batteries, whether it's import or India, and you can swap it. So maybe I think you are saving on, I don't know, some kind of, though the GST is only 5%, I think, on EV, if I'm not mistaken. But basically the upfront cost you can save compared to so you come to a value of an IC vehicle then, because if you compare Ather Energy with a Honda Activa, scooter, it will come down to the Honda Activa scooter price is what I read somewhere last evening by doing this. But then the swappable battery, how it will work, what will the cost incurred, I have no idea. I mean, that I'm not clear. It's basically bringing down the cost, upfront cost, to a customer of buying an EV vehicle without a battery.
Okay. And just one clarification, this TVS order, we've been talking about this order and you've been guiding us from last almost 3-4 quarters. The conversion has happened in this quarter, right? It's the same order which we've been telling.
No, actually the suspension for front fork shockers started actually in September 19.
Right.
That started in September and it was growing till the other orders were for this year, were for 2021, which rates have started now. It will keep growing and the new orders will come. I think they'll start, the other orders of suspension brake will start more in the third quarter because there's testing and all that to be done.
Got it. So I got clarified because the same brake order you've been telling us.
Third and fourth quarter should see a big, upswing, I think.
Got it. Clear. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yes.
Thank you. We have the last question from the line of Sonal Gupta from UBS. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi. Good morning. Thanks for taking my question.
Good morning.
So just wanted to understand one on continuing on the EV side. I mean, are there any new components, etc., that you're looking at for EVs? Just thoughts there.
Well, to answer your question, yes, but I cannot tell you what it is.
Okay. And just in terms of on your brakes, etc. With the value of the brakes, or sort of, I guess, when you shift to an EV sort of a vehicle, will that will go down or be different, or do you think that you will largely not?
I don't think it's going down because we are supplying the CBS for the Bajaj Chetak scooter, and it's different. It's not that the value is down. I mean, it is as profitable as any other CBS brake, so that's no problem.
Right.
I don't see the value going down compared to a scooter CBS of an IC engine and a scooter CBS of an EV, if that's your question.
Yeah.
No, I don't see that going down.
Okay. And just, like you mentioned that some amount of benefit on the RM cost, but RM cost should be largely a pass-through for you, right? The commodity price.
Yes. It is a pass-through, but see, it helps as a percentage to sales. EBITDA margin goes up.
Sure. Okay. And just lastly, how much is castings of your India business as a whole?
It is, I think, 37.5%, I think. It's 37.5%, if I'm not mistaken, of the India business.
Okay. Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question. I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. Nishit Jalan from Axis Capital for closing comments. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Vikram. On behalf of Axis Capital, I would like to thank Endurance Management and all the participants for joining the call today. Mr. Jain, would you like to have any closing remark, or we should just conclude the call?
No, it's fine. I mean, I've said in my opening remarks whatever I wanted to, so we can close.